My name is Louise Welsh. I'm not going to tell you my age because I think people judge you on age. I'm a working writer. I envy people that have a party or a religion that they can ally themselves with. But I've never found anything that I completely agree with. It's like I don't have any tattoos. I've never been able to find a tattoo that I think I would like to have this for the rest of my life. And so there are things, I can tell you a party I wouldn't join. I would never join the Tory party. I've never voted Tory. But I guess by allegiance, I would say I'm a socialist, but I haven't found a party that I can wholeheartedly embrace. So I'm a working writer without a safety net. And I think if you're a working writer without a safety net, you don't only write one thing. So I write novels, I've written libretto for opera. I work at the University of Glasgow 2 days a week. I'm professor of creative writing there. I've written short stories, I've written plays, I've written all sorts of things. And I guess, I think different ideas demand a different medium. So there are some ideas that are a novel, there's some ideas that are a short story or a radio piece. And I'm lucky that over the last 30 years, I've managed to work in different mediums and to keep on going. I was born in the city of London, which is a great tragedy. My dad was in the RAF and he and my mum were down in London. And I really think they could have got the train back. But there you go. I was born in Tootingbeck. If you're lucky, you get a commission. So somebody might say to you, okay, would you write me a short story? It's got to be 2,000 words and I want it by I want it by the end of March. And so that in that case, the form has come first. But when it's a bigger piece, so when it's a novel, the idea comes first. And it has to be an idea that you're willing to live with for quite a while, and one that's got enough complexity to carry it over 80, 90,000 words, whatever it is. So when we say an idea, it can be just an image. Sometimes you get this image in your head, and then over a while, it begins to grow into an idea, and that idea gets different complexities, and you think, oh, this could be a novel. I think opera's a bit, I like collaborations, and I've done 4 operas with my friend Stuart McRae, who's a composer. And in that case, Stuart and I work together, and we bash out lots of ideas. And I like that process because it starts off the two of us sitting as we're sitting, but in person, cup of tea, talk, 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 talk. And eventually ideas come together. So I guess on those occasions, you've got the desire to work together, you've got the desire to make something, but you don't necessarily know what the idea is, and you compose that idea. When I was younger, I really was a bit obsessed with some of James Kelman's books. I was really obsessed with them, and as a young writer, I kind of wanted to be him, which was ridiculous. Partly because he was doing such a good job of doing him in writing. Trainspotting, of course, I think there's not a writer of my generation that won't have been excited by that book, just excited by it. And I guess I see that as being a book within a long tradition, as well as a book that was kind of very changing, changing the literary landscape, but also part of a longer literary landscape. Hogg, Kelman, Tom Leonard, Agnes Owens. We were young, we travelled around a lot because my dad was in the RAF. So I think I was conscious of it from the start, in the way that people who are away from home are conscious of their nationality, if you get, because that's there, because it's not to be taken for granted. Food, language, and I guess the connection with grandparents, that idea, so the awareness that there was a home that wasn't the home where you were at, if that makes sense. We didn't listen to classical music. Well, we did. We had the 1812 overture, We had a record of that, but we didn't listen to classical music, but the radio was on and people would sing and all of those things. In terms of literary, as with a lot of people, not a lot of books in the house, but always going to the library. So the library about twice a week, I would say. And one of my first early literary memories is my dad reading Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson to me. And I wasn't old enough to read it myself, but knowing that he'd really been looking forward to reading it. And my dad is a good reader, and he would do all the voices and put a lot of drama into it, got to the bit with the black spot. And the captain falls down dead on the floor and given the black spot. And then my dad said, "Time for bed." How can you go to bed? So I guess, I think, I don't think my dad was thinking consciously, I must, inculcate Louise into the ways of Scotland. I think he was thinking, this is a book that really excited me when I was a wee boy, and I want to pass it on. And that's what we do, isn't it? COVID experience, like everybody else, it's been, up and down, really up and down. And that it's hard to look back to those first days when I think, like everybody else, there's a lot of trouble sleeping because you can't see ahead. You don't know what this means. At the same time, I'm a working writer. I've got to write. I had a contract for a book. And sometimes you just have to sit and you put the hours in, and eventually, if you put the hours in, you get something and you begin to get back into your groove. But like every writer working on a novel, you're thinking, well, what does this mean in terms of the novel? Or what does it mean in terms of society? And then society impacts on your novel. If you're someone that writes about contemporary society, as I try to do, then the COVID experience is something that has to inhabit the book. And so I set the book a year hence. So now my new book is set in February 2022, which is when it comes out. But I hope that by then we will be emerging. And you have to think about the political and social implications, really, of what's going on. And that means in terms of, I don't know, the impact on people financially, the people that are losing their jobs, businesses that are closing, all of those things are part of the landscape of my novel, as they're also part of the landscape of Scotland just now. And I guess this is a crime novel. It ups the ante, because there are more people within the world of my book that need money, that are willing to take a few more risks.